Cornerstone. Happy Monday. This is our last week. We only have a few chapters left here in our Acts 28-day Bible reading challenge. So today it's Acts 22, June 22nd, Acts 22. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. Paul is in Jerusalem. There's a crowd of people there who, as was predicted, did not want to see Paul at all. And so a mob formed. They start getting violent. The Roman soldiers step in and to ensure Paul's safety. Paul asked to speak to the crowd, and the Romans let him. And Paul does not appeal to Bible prophecy and say that Jesus is like the answer to all the prophets and what they had all said. He doesn't appeal to their sense of like their religious training and their religious duty that, connecting Jesus to the law and appeal to them through Moses. Instead, he goes for a story, because Paul knows what you and I all know, that we are suckers for a good story. People flock to movie theaters to hear a good story. People read long books of fiction for the story, because we love it. We love to know. We love to be on the edge of our seat. We want to know what's next. We're suckers for like a news story that it's compelling. It moves us to action. It's something that speaks to our heart. And so Paul pulls out a story of a murderer who was chasing after Christians, whose life got turned completely around by Jesus on the Damascus Road, and how he changed into an apostle of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And he pours out this story, telling them, and in the end, the people end up losing it. But nonetheless, Paul chose a story. He chose his story. You and I, we all have a story to tell. We all have things in our life that God has done for us. Maybe God has saved you and delivered you from sin. Maybe God has set your feet on solid rock when you never knew peace before. Maybe God put joy in your heart when you were going through a really difficult time. Maybe God healed you in a way that nobody can understand. Maybe the Lord has just moved mightily in your life and brought about a miracle for you. And this is giving you a story to tell. Don't put your story aside and think that it's inconsequential. God gave you your story for a very important reason, because there's somebody who needs to hear it. I don't think God calls us to be like a fast-talking used car salesman trying to, cajole people across the line of faith and trying to convince them. We're not supposed to convince them. That's the Holy Spirit's job. All we're supposed to do is talk about what we know about Jesus. That's what the Great Commission is. Go into all the world and preach the gospel as we know it, to every nation. God's not asking you to preach sermons. He's not asking you to have a TV show. He just wants you to tell your story to people you come in contact with. So this morning, as we work through this, just a couple questions, a couple thoughts as we go forward. I want you to think, what is this passage teaching me about God? How does it apply to me today? Every day I want to know that answer. Second question is, what's your story? What has God done in your life? Maybe you can make a list of the ways that he's moved supernaturally and solved problems for you. I wonder who needs to know that story. I wonder who would benefit from hearing that story. Keep your ears open. Keep your eyes open. Lord, give us a chance to tell our stories this week to someone who needs to hear it. All right, guys, give it some thought. Give it some prayer. Check in with us tomorrow. There's only a few days left. God bless.